Hey everybody, what's going on? Today I want to talk to you about some of the untold truths when you are interviewing for a cybersecurity job, particularly if you are still a fresh graduate or still a junior. These are things that nobody cares to talk about or sort of reveal because they are kind of like hidden secrets. I don't want to say secrets, but these are things that nobody would like to sort of disclose or discuss. So I'm going to share these with you because I know they're going to put your mind at ease and they're going to hopefully make your job process a little bit easier. First things first, when you see a job post or when you see a job role that you think you are a good match for, not necessarily 100% match, I want you to go ahead and apply for it. Because here's what I see happening quite often. A lot of the candidates that I work with, the juniors that I work with, they think that they are not qualified for a job when I see it because they don't fit the bill 100%. The untold truth here is nobody expects you to be a fit for 100%. So don't put this pressure on yourself. Don't put this expectation on yourself. If the employer is not expecting you to be 100% match or 100% fit, why would you expect this from yourself? Go ahead and apply anyway. If you fit 70, 75%, 80%, this is more than enough. Look, think about it this way. If you are doing online dating, let's say, and you put a profile for your ideal match, what are you expecting here? Are you really expecting to find somebody that is 100% ideal and that fits 100% your profile? That is maybe a little bit unrealistic. If you do, then good for you. I'm really happy for you and I wish you two all the best. But the reality of the matter is you're probably going to find somebody who's 80, 85, 90% match. So when you look at these job interviews, what do you see most of the time? You literally see these words, ideal candidate. And the ideal candidate is just this. It's the ideal sort of dream candidate. If they find it, this is fantastic. If you match the description, this is great for both of you. But the reality is they're not expecting to find somebody who's 100% ideal. So go ahead and apply anyway. Now, the reason I also wanted to apply is because here's the second untold truth. Interviewing is a skill set. Look, you're spending way too much time, not way too much time, but you're spending a lot of time acquiring your technical skills. You're spending time doing labs, breaking into boxes, practicing, forensics, reversing, whatever it is that you're doing. You're spending a lot of time doing that, which is fantastic. Why? Because you're trying to grow this skill. You're trying to cultivate this skill. Spend time on interviewing because that too is a skill set. When you go to interviews, you're going to discover things about yourself that you didn't know. The way you handle the pressure of the interview or the anxiety or the nervousness, how you conduct yourself. You think you're prepared with answers and then you start talking about something completely different. How do you know all of this? How do you practice all this? You have to go to interviews. Early on in my career, whenever I was changing jobs, I would go to every single interview that I could. Why? Because I wanted to practice. I wanted to get this skill set. And by the way, what's going to happen here is that you get used to all these questions that will come up quite often. These interview questions that you see an abundance on Google. Tell me about one of your weaknesses. Weaknesses? What are you talking about? Weaknesses are for the weak. Why should we hire you? Because you're hiring? So all of these questions that I kind of don't like, to be honest with you, they will come up. Particularly if you are a junior, they will be asking you these questions and you need to know how to answer them. One thing they want to avoid, by the way, is these canned answers. Don't go with the first answer that you see on the first result of a Google search. Everybody's doing that. To avoid that. Have your answers come from within, from yourself. Talk about yourself. Turn the answer into something that you will share about yourself. Now, the other thing here is, and that's yet another untold truth, is you want to be prepared, but you want to be careful with how much you're preparing. As a junior, nobody's expecting you to be a technical expert, and you shouldn't expect this from yourself as well. When you go through the job post or the job description, there are certain technical skills that are mentioned there. And you absolutely have to be prepared for those. And as I work with students and I work with juniors and we mentor them, we do this exercise. We go through the job post bullet point by bullet point. and we make sure that we are prepared for the required skills. Because here's the thing, when you look at a job post, you're going to notice two things. You're going to notice the required skills, and these are an absolute requirement, and you're also going to notice desired skills. And these are not necessarily requirements that are mandatory. If you have those, this is an extra bonus, great, fantastic, that will give you an edge. If you don't, then that could be fine. But the required skills, they are absolutely necessary. You can't walk into an interview not knowing your stuff. So you have to prepare. But here's the thing, and this is yet another untold truth. When you walk into these interviews, you are expecting to be drilled and grilled with technical questions about these topics. And what's going to happen more often than not is that this is not going to be the case. Your interviewer is not expecting you to be an expert on these topics. They will ask you a few questions. They might try to, drill a little bit just to make sure that you understand what you're talking about and you just didn't go and memorize Wikipedia pages. But they're not going to be going really deep into these technical questions. Now, that's not to say don't spend time preparing for these topics. Not at all. It's way better to be over-prepared than to be under-prepared. Now, here's something else that I want to share with you. And this is yet one more untold truth. You are going to be preparing for technical questions and a technical interview. And this is absolutely understandable. It is a technical role, most likely in cybersecurity. And you want to make sure that you are prepared. But the thing is, no matter how good your questions and answers are, what they are looking for, what your interviewer is looking for, is to remember you for something a little bit different, to remember you for something unique, and to like you. And this is something that very few people talk about, and it is yet one of the most important untold truths. You are trying to get liked, let's be honest, in the interview. Because here's the thing, whenever we are going through a round of interviews, and I ask the interviewing manager or I ask the person conducting the interviews, what did you think of this candidate? What is the first thing that they're going to say? It's either I like him or her, or I didn't really like him or her. Like is a key word here. So how do you get somebody to remember you or to like you? Yes, you are prepared for the technical questions, but you also need to be prepared on a personal level to create this sort of personal connection. And these are some soft skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills that you need to work on. They don't just come. Some people are born with it, good for them. But some people need, like me, they need to work on it. They need to work on how to communicate, how to talk, how to conduct themselves. And this is why we go back to one of the first earlier points. Interviewing is a skill set. You need to practice as much as you can. One of the first jobs, actually, literally my first pen testing job, I know for a fact that the reason I got this job, besides the fact that I answered pretty much all of the technical questions, but the thing that sort of tipped the scale for me is that I was having a normal, natural conversation with my interviewer, and we were joking around, we were having a laugh, and that was their feedback to my manager after we finished. They came and told my manager, and my manager told me, of course, after some time, that I like this guy. He was joking around, having fun, and I could see that he's going to be a very good fit for our culture. Which brings me to the last untold truth. When you sit for an interview, you also want to be asking questions, and you also want to be making sure that this is the right job for you. A lot of times, more often than not, you'll walk into the interview and you're trying to impress, and you're trying to show them that you are a good fit for the company, you're a good fit for the role or for the team. But what a lot of people, especially juniors, miss is the fact that you also need to make sure that the company is a good fit for you. You want to make sure that you're going to be working with good people, with good managers, with a nice team. You're going to be growing in this company. You're going to be learning. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in a rut for a couple of years, and you're going to be stressed out trying to find another job. So what I'd like you to do when the question comes up, and this will come up, when they ask you, do you have any questions for me? Be prepared with some good questions. Whenever I'm interviewing somebody, if I ask them this, and the answer is, no, I'm good, or no, sorry, I don't have any questions. To be honest, I am a little bit disappointed. I want them to ask questions. And this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions that will tell you more about who your manager is, what kind of culture you're getting into, what kind of company it is. Like from the top of my head, these are the questions that I like to ask. Tell me a little bit about the culture of the company. If the manager, your direct manager, is not in the interview, tell me a little bit about my manager. What's his management style? Tell me a little bit about the team. Who will I be working with? Tell me a little bit about a typical day here at work. What does it look like? Tell me a little bit about the career progress. What is the plan? Tell me about the training plan. Do you have a training plan? How often do you allow us to go for trainings? Tell me about I don't know, there's a ton of questions that you can ask. So make sure that you ask these. Oh, here's another question that I love to ask. And this is, by the way, an indirect way to see why would somebody, or why is this position open? Did somebody leave because they had an issue with the company? So you want to know these kind of stuff. So ask questions such as, tell me about this role. What's the reason it's open? Am I replacing somebody? Somebody going on a maternity leave, or did somebody quit for whatever reason? So these will give you a great insight into the company. And believe it or not, at one point in time, you are going to get to a stage. I know right now, as a junior, you are, I don't want to say desperate, but you are excited and keen on getting your hands on any job, no matter what it is. But at one point in time, you will get to a stage, or you get to a point where you're going to be turning down jobs. And I will share a story with you, maybe at one point in time, where I turned down a job, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions that I've done. I got hired by the same company later on, and I had one of the best sort of stretches in my career in that company. I'll share that with you. But at one point in time, know this: you will be turning down jobs. If you are good enough at the interviewing, if you're good enough with your technical skills, this will happen. So that's it for now. I truly, genuinely hope that this is going to help you in your future interviews. If it does, please let me know. I love to hear about your success stories. And until next time, I will see you soon in another video.